Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Katrina Ness and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings and Katrina Ness.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Katrina Ness, joined by Ted Ings and an amazing group of automotive industry professionals. Right now, we are at the Reynolds & Reynolds headquarters in Dayton, Ohio.
This panel is about Reynolds Advanced Service, and joining us today is Derrike Ramey from the Reynolds & Reynolds Company, and with us are two retail fixed operations specialists, Don Andres and Linda Hansen. Everybody, welcome to Reynolds & Reynolds and the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Dan, glad to be here. Yeah, thanks for the invite. Yeah.
So yesterday, Katrina, you and I had a chance to spend the day at Reynolds. We had a tour of the facility, including the campus and the Innovation Center. Derrike did an amazing job taking us to what Reynolds has for retailers today, for fixed operations, and what's coming. Derrike, great job with that. And tell our audience a little bit about some of the things that you showed us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's nice to show off our Innovation Center. Really, it's a mock dealership that we have on campus, and we can really show off all of our products. So whether we're scheduling an appointment online or checking in for the appointment, we have all of the tools and products here on site. And that's what we do. We walk all of our customers through that there. So really cool. And
we had a chance to see everything from dropping the vehicle off to service right up with things like GoMoto. Yeah. The kiosks were here. You showed us a little bit about SPG. We talked a little bit about some of the things that the technicians do with videos as well, and the MPIs. Very, very professional and well done. And I can understand why you want to show that off to dealers, who are either Reynolds clients or considering Reynolds.
Absolutely. And it's really neat, too, when they see the whole process from beginning to end and just seeing everything for themselves, that really the light bulb goes off. They can see, oh, wow, that's a really streamlined process, and they can see how it would work. So it's really powerful to have that experience here and to really see that the products really are streamlined. They really do communicate with each other, and then they can have that for themselves in their dealership.
And it's very complete, because if I were a dealer going through that tour, I could instantly identify, oh, wait a second, we don't have that part of the process. That's right. Or we're not doing this. Linda, maybe you could speak to that with some of the efficiencies that you help dealers work on and improve in dealership.
Thanks, Ted. I'd be happy to. One of the things that I enjoy doing when I go into a dealership, I think as a consultant and as a trainer, the best tools I have are my eyes and my ears. So I observe a lot. I like to do what I refer to as a waist walk. I know it sounds a little odd, but basically after getting an approval from an employee, I will kind of follow them around the dealership. It is not to be able to point out where they're doing something wrong. It's to help look at the flow and try and find inefficiencies, which is exactly what your system does. It takes some of those steps and shrinks them down a little bit to make sure that we're not wasting anyone's time, the customer, the advisor, or the technician. When I do a waist walk with a technician, it is amazing how much time you can find that is not anything that's billable for the customer. And it's all about the billable hours. We talk about that in Fixed Ops Roundtable all the time. It's all about the hours. I was recently at a BMW dealership, and it's a very customer-focused dealership. And one of the things that they like to do is have their technicians engage with the customers. So we found that there was 0.8 of an hour on average every day being wasted by their technicians because of the inefficient placement of the hand washing machine. So I'm working on a car. I need to go talk to a customer. I have to walk far to the back of the shop, wash my hands, come back through the shop again, and talk to the customer. So just if you take 19 technicians and 0.8 of an hour per day on average, there's a lot of billable money that's going out the window. So that investment was made in putting another hand washing station closer to the service advisors, and the technicians were happy because now they're making more money, and it just speeds up the whole process. So anything you can do to eliminate inefficiencies, electronic, anything that you can do, and I really enjoy some of the things that we were talking about with your part system. because that eliminates a lot of wasted time.
Oh, absolutely.
Another inefficiency I can think of is communication within different departments in the dealership. So, Don, touch on the importance of productive communication through the different departments.
Yeah, everybody has to be on the same page, right? So you have to be able to know that from the appointment process through the write-up process, the meet and greet, everything has to move in a single format and a single flow. When you look at dealerships that you go into that I visit where they're just missing that structure, and it usually is the tools they're using. You know, it's not uncommon to see a dealership with a desktop and all these tools opened up with the advisor, all these third-party people all trying to have what they think is helping an advisor through a day or through a process, and in fact, it becomes overwhelming for them. So, you know, one of the things that the conversation I was having with Derrike was just this idea of closing the loop, where everybody understands the tool. They use the tool seamlessly from the write-up through to the technician. Technician sees it electronically. This is my next car. I'm going to go ahead and diagnose concern. I'm going to do my multi-point inspection. I'm going to do my quick video. I'm going to send that to parts in order to find out where we're at with pricing and with availability of the parts. It goes to the service advisor. He sees all that information. I can now text all of that to the client, which is the seamless way of interrupting a customer. If I'm going to interrupt the customer at work, I want to do it as quick and as seamless as possible. I can pull it up on my phone. I can see it. I communicated as an advisor, said, hey, I'm going to be sending you some stuff. I'll call you. We can talk about this. And now the customer can, on their phone, approve it. This is this closing of the loop where everybody's working off of the exact same page. Now, what does that mean from a management standpoint? If somebody chooses not to do it, which is one of those things we see with service advisors, technicians that decide to buck the system, well, they stand out like a sore thumb. Yep. And so now it becomes much easier to manage individuals within your department because the system works, everybody's bought in, and of course, technicians are turning hours. So we love that.
Absolutely.
And Reynolds speaks to transparency. Tools such as Service Price Guide really help the dealership and the retailer become more transparent with the customer. And I saw that throughout the Fixed Operations Innovation Center tour yesterday, Derrike. And a lot of the things that you're doing, you know, when a retailer sees them for the first time, it stands out, okay? Like, that's really good. We got to have that. And we heard that throughout the tour yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to speak to that with the service price guides, it gives all of the information to the technician. So if they are recommending those services and parts, they can see that, yeah, they have them there. They can see the price breakdown, all of that transparency, even sales drivers. So it can really be the lips to the advisors as well on why those services and parts are necessary. And really, to what you're saying with closing the loop, you know, that is our advanced service. It's really a suite of tools that streamline that process. Not just for the dealerships, but for the customers as well and how we're communicating with them. So whether, you know, we're automatically tech dispatching based off skill set and availability, or doing electronic write-ups, to doing the report card mobilely, in fact, and taking those photos and videos. So that way we can send that information to the customer to see. It's a really neat process.
And Katrina, we saw this under the big umbrella of Retail Anywhere. Yep. Reynolds is focused on being able to retail that vehicle, whether it's on the sales side or on the service and parts side, anywhere the customer is, if they're at the dealership, if they're at home, if they're at work, as Derrike was just saying, contacting the customer. And it really makes it, it's not a disjointed process. It all speaks together in concert with one. I think that's really important for the customer.
Yeah, it is. It's really smooth the way Reynolds has all their products set up. And we learned that yesterday in the Innovation Center, like Ted said, when we went and had the opportunity to tour their mock dealership. So it's not only beneficial for the customer, but also the consumer, because the consumer wants their car done as soon as possible. And when you have these processes that work together and are put in place that are seamless, it works wonders for the employees in the dealership, because they get to turn more hours, but also the consumer, because they get their car done faster.
Derrike, what's one thing that you want our audience to know about Reynolds and Reynolds and all the good work that you're doing here on fixed operations? Because that is not just an important part for today, but for the future. not just for Reynolds clients, but for even customers considering Reynolds down the road?
Yeah, really by using the streamlined process that we've talked about is really going to increase profitability and maximize efficiency. So really what I mean is we're increasing capacity without extending hours, which makes for really happy customers and really happy dealerships.
Well, Derrike, congratulations to you and Reynolds and your team. Very impressed at what you have going here. Keep up the great work, and we're looking forward to seeing and hearing more this week while we're here at Reynolds. Katrina Ness and I, Don Andres and Linda Hansen, thank you so much for joining us on the panel today and giving us your input as well. We're here at Reynolds, everybody, and we will be right back.
Prior to Reynolds, service was using one platform, sales was using another one. There were multiple different products we had to use. Everyone had to be an expert user on each one of them, and it made it really cumbersome for the guests when they arrived at the dealership.
We had team members who had 7, 8, 9 instances of different systems, CRMs and DMSs in order to serve a customer. And now that one BDC agent's able to have just one system open, they're able to handle 20% more customers on a daily basis.
The installation of advanced service really allowed our technicians, our advisors, and our parts team to communicate on a whole different level.
Previous to advanced service, our service write-up process was at the desk on a PC. There really wasn't a mobile component to it. Now we're able to go to the client. We were out on the service drive. We can start the repair order out there. It's very seamless. The same device that they use on the drive is basically their computer at their desk.
We are a completely paperless service drive in all of our dealerships. Our customers can interact essentially on a tablet while we do a walk around, and the process is efficient, it is easy, and it's modern.
Tracking lost sales with Reynolds is incredibly easy. We've seen a lot more declined work coming back into the shop.
We're able to go back now and see what was missed, what was recommended and declined, and we can follow up on that. That's a huge source of revenue for the dealership.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend Reynolds to another dealer. Yeah, no question.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Katrina Ness, joined by Ted Ings, and we are here at the Reynolds & Reynolds World Headquarters.
Katrina, we're here in Dayton, Ohio, and we're really humbled to be joined by some Reynolds greats, including Shawn Leibold, the Director of Industry Relations. Shawn, welcome, and thank you for having us on campus.
It's my pleasure, and we love having you guys on campus, and we love going to your events, so thank you both.
And thank you so much for the support that Reynolds gives, not just the Fixed Ops Roundtable, but the Fixed Ops community as a whole, because there's so much happening in our industry now, and you know, you are an integral part to all that's happening.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Obviously, Fixed Ops is a humongous piece of the dealership business, and you know, it's going to be the next launching for most dealers. You know, outside of car sales, the Fixed Ops area has always been that area that keeps the lights on too.
So part of the reason that we came in is so that we could take a kind of look behind the curtain and see what's happening behind the scenes at Reynolds. And there's so much that's happening and that you are doing on the front of retail technicians and helping dealers. There's no secret there's been a shortage of technicians. Dealers growing their own, how to do that, what are some of the tools that we need? Talk to us a little bit about that and how you see your role at Reynolds.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Obviously, as Reynolds employees, when we go to dealerships or we go to conferences, you know, we always ask, what are some of the challenges and hurdles that you're having, Mr. Dealer or Mrs. Dealer? And, you know, and they're traditional challenges and things like that. But what we've seen, obviously, in the last year or two is a significant shortage in technicians. And I believe that, you know, we all have a mutual responsibility in developing and supporting the ecosystem of automotive so that, you know, everybody's happy and healthy. But dealers have to have these technicians, and if they don't, then obviously cars can't be fixed, they can't be put back on the road, things like that. So what I've really tried to do is try to find things in the industry that might be, you know, behind the curtain kind of things to support any organizations, associations, dealers, causes that support the technician development. You know, I think some of the challenges is that, you know, that job was always looked at as a job that you got your hands really dirty, you went home, you didn't smell great, And even though you made good money, it wasn't glamorous. It's gotten much, much more glamorous. You've got technicians now that are making a lot of money. They're not coming home as dirty. The cars are a little different than they were back in the day. So I think, we need to do a better job of also telling the story of that this job is an amazing job, and the amount of intelligence that you have to do this job is also off the chart, especially with the complexity of the way the car is being made now. So.
Yeah, for sure. Dive into a little bit how you yourself and Reynolds & Reynolds has helped technicians overall.
Yep. So so one of the first programs that we kind of found here locally is with a community college called Sinclair Community Colleges. It's one of the largest community colleges in the country, which is also not known by many. So they have a technician program that, it's a community college, so it's generally a 2-year degree or a 1-year degree, depending on what they go into. But we felt that was such a vital piece to the industry that we started supporting them with scholarships. But then recently we've done some fun stuff where we've given them their first toolkit to go into the market to get their first job. And it might not be with a Reynolds dealership, and that's okay. But we just want them to know that we're supporting their industry and we're supporting their causes. So that's one of the cool things that we've done with Sinclair, and it's now morphed into some other things. So.
Wonderful. I have a card here from a technician giving their appreciation back to Reynolds and what you guys do. So I'll read it out loud because I really enjoyed this one. Dear Reynolds & Reynolds, thank you so much for these tools. I'm a first-generation auto mechanic. This means so much to me. I can remember a time when I didn't have power tools and I had to do everything by hand. And the amount of time that power tools cut down on, the labor and the amount of time it does to fix a car is so important, because at the end of the day, it's all about the hours.
It is all about.
So that's wonderful that you guys are providing these scholarships and giving these power tools back to the technicians in order to help the industry as a whole.
I agree, and I don't think people understand the expenses on what mechanics tools cost them.
Yes.
Even just starter kit tools like that that we give are a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
And if you talk about a full-blown technician's tool kit, it can range from $12,000 to $15,000. So these guys and gals that are coming out of these technician schools and trade schools, they're not ready to spend that kind of money. They're trying to make money. So how can we at least give them like a little starter kit to kind of get started and then go from there?
And I think a lot of the people outside the industry, going back to reference something you said earlier, don't realize the opportunity of what a technician can make today in a real career path at a dealership with all the certifications and training they go through. And the fact that they do have to purchase all these tools. Even the toolbox can be extremely expensive along the way. Katrina, I have one of the cards as well that came from a technician. I'll read it out loud. He says, Reynolds & Reynolds, thank you for the Snap-on tools. I sincerely look forward to using them at Performance Kings Honda. That's really great. Snap-on is a name brand. So here's another one where you help with the tools.
Yeah, we started to look at some of the iconic brands that wrap themselves around dealerships, and if you've ever pulled into a dealership, there's a likelihood you're going to see a Snap-on truck. And, those are all franchisees that go from dealership to dealership to sell tools. And, and some dealerships give their technicians stipends, some don't. It's purely on the technicians to purchase their own tools, because then they take those tools from one dealership to another, or they go start their own shop or whatever it may be. But tools are such a vital part of that job. Yeah. It's amazing, and especially with the way the cars change.
Yeah, here's one more for everyone to appreciate. Reynolds & Reynolds, I would like to express my gratitude for your donation of tools and the opportunity to take the ASE test while also taking the GM ASEP course. Both are valuable assets that will help further my career in the automotive industry. And there's so many different ways to help these young people. And I love that you've expressed that Reynolds & Reynolds is doing that as a whole.
We have, and ASE is another important part of that. So I've tried to start discussions with ASE on how can we become more ingrained with some of your regional events, some of your regional certifications. ASE is obviously gold standard in that world of technicians. And I'll go back to the Snap-on example just a little bit more. Is we've also taken that a step further with some of our associations. So I'll use a recent one with Hawaii. We recognized that there was a community college out there that was about to recognize a bunch of technicians that were graduating from Maui Community College. So I thought, you know what? We're going to support the ADA, which is the association, but I think it would be kind of fun if we gave them each like a gift card to a Snap-on tool truck, so that no matter which dealership they go to, they can walk on the Snap-on, truck and go purchase maybe their first huge wrench that costs $200 or whatever it might be. But at least it's a little helper.
And Shawn, that's real world. That's something that
Correct.
can be applied right away to people who are making a difference. It shows appreciation for them.
Correct.
It wasn't that long ago that we, may not have appreciated the technician the way we do today. And now these are some of the most educated, well-trained people who work in the automotive industry, if I want to speak to that.
That's right. Yeah. So, again, it's with the sophistication of how the cars are being built, with over-air updates coming and things like that become computer-based, down to the sophistication of the engines, and now you've got EVs that are out there. So you're going to see an evolution of the technician like you've never seen it. And, we have some colleagues in the industry that will talk about that the industry will change more in the next 2 years than it has in the last 100, and that is going to be the same with technicians. I mean, they're going to have to, continue to evolve their certifications and ramp up their certifications and make sure that they're educated on these new amazing vehicles that are being turned out.
One final question to kind of close us out today. I know Reynolds is a big supporter of education and advancing people in our industry. A great example is the Northwood connection. And while Northwood may not graduate as many technicians, as they will people into automotive marketing and management, your focus on what the dealership needs on a day-to-day basis, that speaks volumes. And you know what? If we hadn't come to Northwood and spent some time here this week, we probably wouldn't have known that.
Right.
And we're in the fixed operations business.
Right. Yeah. No. And I'll use one last example to kind of end on. So we've even done it with dealer groups. One specifically out of Florida, which I think does an amazing job with a very unique technician approach. So what they've done is they've focused on females and trying to take them out of traditional dealership roles, which traditionally, you'd see a female, in the back office, or a controller, or payable person, and those are great jobs. Don't get me wrong, but what this organization, they're a top 10 organization in the country, they developed a female program to try to get them into, the technician, mechanic, the dispatcher, the service advisor role, because there's a lot of money being made back there, and unfortunately, I don't think the females have ever really thought or entertained the thought, and so they're doing amazing work with trying to get the exposure to the back end of the business, but then we also made a large donation to help support that, and we just wanted to show them that, listen, there's lots of opportunities within the dealership walls, and fixed ops is one of the growing ones right now. So.
And Katrina, I'm thinking that's probably the one area during your internship this past summer that you didn't get a chance to do was the technician side. So maybe in the future, maybe
let's check her hand. let's see if there's any grease under the fingernails. No.
I don't know about that. But on behalf of the industry as a whole, thank you for all that you do, and Reynolds and Reynolds.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Shawn Leibold, Director of Industry Relations. We're here at Reynolds and Reynolds, Katrina Ness and I, and our team. We have a lot more coming up behind the scenes of what Reynolds provides to our industry. We are going to be right back.
Well, I think as the market's changed and customers expect different things, faster service, you have to change with the times.
Dealers are often valuing software as what can it do for me? What's the return on investment? Forever, dealerships have thought about it, and they use this word DMS. What Reynolds has really evolved to is RMS, Retail Management System. What Reynolds has developed is a solution, not just a software.
They're always looking for something innovative, something new that they can incorporate. They're looking for different ways to improve the dealer experience and always striving to put the best product out there.
If you're trying to operate a business and you're trying to deal with 10 different people giving you the same kind of tools, then it's just a mess.
For us, one of the benefits of working with Reynolds and Reynolds is that it is built as a single system. It works together, and we know that it's just going to work.
So that when I need information, if I need it for sales or for service or for body or for parts, it's not a bolt-on where I have a specialty product. It's all there together. A vendor provides a product. Reynolds provides a solution. You need a solution or you'll always be searching for problems.
If Reynolds can do it, we want Reynolds to do it. And someone might be a little bit cheaper or they might have a little bit of a hook, but history's taught me just deal with the people you can trust.
We're able to really build a vision, and we're really able to build a strategy around achieving that vision. When we look at trying to figure out where the future is going to take us, the one thing we know is that we're going to go there with Reynolds together.